America's favorite son, American President Barack Obama, surprised the world when he chose Ghana as his first touchdown in Africa, over Kenya, his father's country of birth, and Nigeria, Africa's self-acclaimed giant of Africa. But when the commander-in-chief gave his speech, it was clear why he chose Ghana. He described the nation as a country where its people had shown a real democratic spirit that allowed the energy of the people to break through. However, he also pointed out that corruption and bad governance in other African countries were to blame for Africa's problems today.
Development depends on good governance. That is the ingredient which has been missing in far too many places for far too long. That's the change that can unlock Africa's potential. And that is a responsibility that can only be met by Africans.
However, some Africans believe that he painted a false historical and current reality about Africa by insinuating that Africans had made excuses for its bad governance and corruption by blaming it on neo-colonialism, oppression from the West, and racism. Instead, they said that he had overlooked the colossal wealth that had been extracted from Africa by the West, leaving the continent dependent.
I quarrel with the notion that you have to read certain texts to be able to assess the economic and political predicament of a vastly, inexcusably retarded continent as Africa.
Nobel laureate and international writer Wole Soyinka concurred with Obama, saying that he had no reason to associate himself with countries that defied the very essence that brought him to power, true democracy and not just civilian rule. Closer to home, Wole Soyinka believes that Nigeria is where it is today because of its long history of bad leadership.
Leaders were too eager to step into the shoes of the departing colonial masters, to exercise the same muscle, to see themselves, as sort of agencies of alienated power, rather than seeing themselves as part and parcel of the struggle for liberation and development. And so they take a very arrogant attitude towards the populace. They behave exactly like neo-colonialists, like the departing white masters. So their political orientation is wrong. That is part of the problem. They see themselves as masters, not as partners.
Nigeria has struggled with democracy and governance for years now, and many of its people are wary of the leadership in the country.
Somebody this morning they are talking about that before he could be able to afford this, today he couldn't be able to even feed about 3 children. It's many comments, so we know that everybody, without even saying it, we can see even the faces of the people. That was the major reason why I believe Obama doesn't come to Nigeria, because he believes the government on ground is not government of the people. We should have hope, and we hope to witness a good governance in Nigeria. Because without good governance, I don't see, because things are just going from bad to worse, and it's not supposed to be like that. It's not by our power, but by our vote that day. They should think about the people, they should have us in mind, and they should think about us, what we feel, and they should think about how to make life, better for the common man.
But though democracy is wavering, it is far from dead. Out of the country's 36 states, a few have given Nigerians a reason to hope for a government that is striving to build itself around justice and ethics. Here in Lagos, the state government has been described as a refreshing change in leadership in Nigeria, ensuring results, transparency, accountability, and civic engagement. This year, the governor and his team won the prestigious African Business Award in London for good governance, awarded by the Commonwealth Business Council in conjunction with IC Publications, the first time it's been awarded to a public institution in Africa. As Lagos State Attorney General received the award in front of business leaders and heads of state like Rwandan President Paul Kagame, he stated that Lagos State saw this award as a challenge to work even harder.
When all of what is discussed in government is how to appoint the leader, how to remove him, then who is focusing on the real issues? Those issues about maintenance, nobody will see that roads are bad. And that is the time that we have come to. And I just think that people should be a little more observant about what has gone on, and we will find out that things are not near as dire or as hopeless as we thought, and that very simple things can actually make the difference. Try to make existing things work while we build onto new things, and try to manage our time very efficiently. I think that is probably the most critical thing here.
Lagos is an example for the potential Nigeria has to build a functional democracy through exemplary leadership. Certainly, Nigerians themselves have not given up, believing that their country will live up to its name as the giant of Africa.
They've just got to move out, identify among themselves, the new generation as well as the older generation, those of proven integrity and capability. They've got, I've said to them, you've got to do an Obama if you like. Obama worked from the grassroots. He didn't rely on corporate strength, even though he had, corporate support as well, but he went right to the people. And also the people, of course, have learned to defend their votes in countries like that. But they must get rid of the kind of leadership we've had over the last few years. They must begin to organize, and it can be done. It can be done.
As President Obama said, Africa must start from the simple premise that Africa's future is up to Africans.